there is one kind of an elf called húsálfar. The elves of the houses. Things disappear and you have no idea where it is. All of a sudden it comes to reality.
She believed that there was this elf woman. Her name was Helga.
Nije tajna da su Islanđani prilično sujevjerna nacija. Ja sam odrastao u porodici u kojoj je razgovor o vilenjacima i skrivenim ljudima bila opšta svakodnevnica, a svako večer prije nego bih otišao u krevet, majka bi mi ispričala jednu priču. Jedna od njih kaže da su vilenjaci ili huldufolk, kako ih mi zovemo ovdje, nastali od Adama i Eve. Naime, jednoga dana Bog je rekao Evi da će je posjetiti, ali prije nego će doći, ona primijeti da su joj djeca prljava te ih sakri od Boga. Kada je Bog došao i vidio sve ovo, on reče: ono što čovjek sakri od Boga, Bog će sakriti od ljudi. Te na taj način nastadoše i ova bića.
Zar prosto ne obožavate priče poput ove, da u jednoj od najrazvijenijih zemalja u Europi ljudi i dalje vjeruju u postojanje vilenjaka? Jednostavno, moram da istražim više o ovoj temi i upravo idem da se vidim sa jednim lokalcem koji će mi reći nešto više o svemu ovom. Do Icelandic people actually believe in elves, or it's more of a myth?
I don't think we really believe in elves, but we still respect, the fact that there might be something in these myths. And even my grandmother, she used to live in a farmhouse, in the countryside, and she believed in elves, like truly. And she believed they visited her in her dreams, in her daydreams, and when she was alone, and the people were farming, and she believed that there was this elf woman. Her name was Helga.
She had a
name, and she totally believed this. And our family, we still have that farmhouse, and it's just a small hill, like a few hundred meters away, and I don't believe it, but I totally respect that. And I would never do anything on that small hill to damage it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't lawn the grass. I don't believe it, but I respect it. It's just, I don't know, maybe.
Prema jednoj anketi koja je urađena prije nekoliko godina, čak 54% populacije Islanda u određenoj mjeri vjeruje u postojanje vilenjaka. Oni ih opisuju kao slične sebi, samo pametnije i ljepši. Spominje se isto tako da postoji više od 50 različitih vrsta vilenjaka, s tim da se oni dijele na dvije osnovne grupe, one tamne i svijetle vilenjake.
Prema predanju, svijetli vilenjaci žive u raju imena Alfheimar, dok tamni žive u podzemlju. Svijetli vilenjaci su isto tako obično blijede puti i svijetle jače nego sunce, dok su tamniji od najcrnijeg mraka. A osim ove podjele, pojedini ljudi ovdje koje upoznajete će vam ispričati onu drugu verziju kako su ova bića nastala. Naime, ona počinje sa pričom o čovjeku koji nekada davno putovao ovim krajem i izgubio se. Nakon sati i sati lutanja stigao je na farmu o kojoj nije znao apsolutno ništa. Pokucao je na vrata. Jedna starija žena ubrzo mu je otvorila te ga pozvala da uđe. Odvela ga je u dnevnu sobu gdje su se nalazile još dvije mlade i veoma lijepe djevojke. Nakon što je dobro jeo, odveli su ga u krevet, a on zatraži da spava sa jednom od djevojaka, što mu bi dopušteno. Čim su legli u krevet, muškarac joj se pokušao vratiti, ali kada je pokušao da je dodirne, nije osjetio ništa. Djevojka je bila tu u krevetu, ali ipak nije mogao da je dotakne. Kada ju je konačno upitao da mu objasni šta se dešava, ona je samo odgovorila da je bestjelesni duh i nestala.
Still, the thing is that when we're still living in the countryside at farms, still with this great strong connection to nature, didn't really travel, although only we could travel in our minds. And some people became really sort of deep thinkers by just traveling in their minds. Some people travel from one country to another and they just make a photograph and they don't really travel. Anyway, and it is sort of for us who are younger generation, who was born after the Second World War, we had grandfathers and grandmothers who told us stories. And they were sort of much more connection to this nature thing, but we were brought up in cityscape. Okay. We sort of start to think or have doubts, become critical, analytical thinkers, and sort of they sort of block us. Because still many young people have the senses open and are not blocked by the educational systems and things like this. You have to do something seriously and sort of only learn what can be measured, mirrored, or you can tell you have to touch it to believe it. You know, but we know better. There are more things than things we can touch, mirror, or measure. And this is so important, sort of how Icelanders still, they maybe say majority of the population maybe say, I don't believe in elves, but I'm not excluding anything.
Dio ovih stvari vjerovatno se uči i u školi za vilenjake koja, vjerovali ili ne, postoji u Reykjaviku i koja je 1991. godine osnovana od strane ovog čovjeka kojeg sada vidite, istraživača i entuzijaste za islamsku mitologiju. Sama nastava u školi obuhvata sve aspekte vilenjačkog svijeta, od različitih vrsta vilenjaka do njihovih staništa, ponašanja i odnosa sa ljudima. Studenti dalje uče o detaljima života vilenjaka, njihovim hijerarhijama, zajednicama te interakciji sa ljudima.
So this is called the Hellisgerði, and this is the most famous place where elves are more or less seen by people who have these senses to see them. And because, you know, of course, people like our generation who is educated not seeing these things, although they exist. Almost everyone knows that this exists, but you can't really prove it with photographs, like with mirroring them or measuring them, but they exist here. Okay. And there is a famous woman who just died recently, who was an expert in this, and we can maybe walk, or we can see this. There is even a shop called the Elves Shop a little bit in this garden. And but sort of the contemporary experience of elves has happened so much about our fathers and grandfathers' generations. And it is basically how it touches contemporary times is city planning and road construction. And there is at least, you can sort of get confirmation from the road construction companies, at least 3 main roads in the circle around Iceland has been, they had to move it and make it a pass by some places, usually some kind of a rocks, which sort of our grandmothers and even the people who were working in the road constructions, they got their grandmothers, no, you don't touch this, you don't touch this. And if you do, there will be something really bad happen. And usually it did, maybe because behind of the grandmothers, maybe she had sons, and maybe they put some sugar into the big equipment into it to destroy this, so they would not do this. Okay. So all kinds of really big fight against this, if someone touched these holy spots.
Ali čak i u današnje vrijeme ljudi koji žive ovdje će vam ispričati slične priče. Relativno skoro se desio jedan incident kada je cesta trebala da bude izgrađena kroz mjesto u kojem navodno žive vilenjaci.
Nakon mnogih neuspjelih pokušaja gdje su se velike mašine iz neobjašnjivih razloga stalno kvarile, a brojni radnici pretrpjeli čudne nesreće koji dan danas niko nije objasnio, građevinska firma odlučila je premjestiti cestu u drugi kraj kako bi zaobišli zajednicu vilenjaka. Ovo je samo jedan od nekoliko primjera u zemlji koji je dokumentovan, a u kojem građevinski projekti često budu mijenjani kako bi se izbjeglo nanošenje štete začaranim stijenama u kojima su vilenjaci napravili svoj dom. Kaže se da ako je put zaista neophodan, vilenjaci će već pronaći novo stanište, ali ako nije, neke loše stvari mogu da se desi.
Very recently there was this, the construction, they actually damaged the rock, and people were furious because it's like, why don't you just move the road a little bit to the side? It was no problem. But they know it has to be a straight road, and they use explosives, whatever, and people were just totally mad about it. Okay. So they still respect that little maybe.
It's a law that you must not bring that like you must not build something because of the else, or it's like more like people believe that you should not build.
Yeah, the thing is that especially the older generation is so adamant about this. So they just put up, don't, and that they have such a strong ties to the sons that they have to obey. Grandmother is saying we can't do this,
Okay, so they believe.
They believe.
Have you seen elves so far?
Oh yes, the thing is that there are some places in Iceland, and there's one really strong. It is not here. This is probably too close to human activities. And there is on the south coast of Iceland is a very interesting place. And even if you saw when you came here that you saw this church. The other side of the church is a total replica of a cliff or a rock which was full of elves in a place called Sida. That has got also a guidance line. There is a map in the front of it, and I went there once on a Sunday morning. Nobody there, no tourists, and no one was there. And it was so interesting because there you couldn't help this feeling that there was something in the air first of all, and then they sort of not, when you looked at things directly, you saw something on the side of your eyeballs, and you looked like this and they disappeared. But they were full of them. And it was a very strong experience. But you see, the thing is that I have always had been a problem of admitting these things, because you are supposed to be silly if you see this, and there is no question that it was full of life. But you have to have in mind also that there is some hierarchy within the elves community. There is a king and there is a queen, for example, in Icelandic legends. And there was really nothing, the elves come about in the poetry from the 11th century, and in the Eddas they are there, but to write like legends of elves didn't really start like in most European places, like the Grimm's brothers in Germany, like Hans Christian Andersen in Denmark. We had the same kind of things in Iceland, but we started to collect this in the mid-19th century. And for the first time they were translated also into Icelandic legend. There is a book of Icelandic legends, and many of the most famous stories in that they were sort of picked up by a British traveller, and he got this huge illumination of this strong ties to the nature, like sort of the leftovers of the pagan society. And then they started to write this down, and it was translated first into English, and then and also to German later, and things like that. And it became sort of an inspiration for so many sort of others during this period of time we called Romanticism. And that sort of it was mind-blowing things, because it was about sort of something to have this inspiration from these people who were connected to the nature directly. And then sort of the school, like I told you, the school system starts to close us, get serious, and go go down to earth. But the thing is that we are still reminded by our stories we are told when we were kids. Our grandmothers, we used to have much larger families with our grandmothers in part of the family. And they were always reminding us on these stories. And we went like, wow, it was sort of mind-expanding experience in your childhood.
If we were to see an elf, how can we actually recognize it?
Well, you have to open your senses, because so many contemporary people have closed their senses. They don't or they have problems admitting that they have it. Because there is this difference between the world in front of our eyes and the world behind your eyes. And when you open your senses towards it, you all of a sudden start to see. And also you must, if you were a creative person, you must use this as an inspiration, enlightenment, whatever it is, mind expanding, you can use drugs to do that, because you can also become spiritually awakened doing that.
Okay. That's right.
But there is one student at my school. I'm a teacher in an art school, and she did an essay on the sexual life of the elves.
Stani malo. Jel možeš to ponoviti?
School, and she did an essay on the sexual life of the elves.
Da, određen dio ljudi ovdje, doduše na njegov mali dio, ispričat će vam čak da su imali i seks sa vilenjacima, a pojedini idu do te mjere da govore da su i oni i bolji ljubavnici nego ljudi i da su im one stvari, pa već znate. U članku kojeg sada vidite, ona navodi da je seksualni odnos sa ljudima poprilično dosadan u odnosu na onaj sa vilenjacima, jer oni tačno znaju šta trebaju činiti, nevjerovatno su gibki i spremni na oralni seks. Upravo ovu gospođu, koja je bila puna hvale njihovog umijeća u krevetu, pokušao sam danima da kontaktiram, ali na kraju ipak nije bila raspoložena za priču.
By the way, if you would to describe an elf in a physical manner, how does it look like?
Yeah, but the thing is that you sense there is some kind of society, and elves are usually always small. If they got big, they are trolls.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that there are so many strange formations in Icelandic nature. It's full, especially in a fog. You walk around Icelandic nature in a fog. You always see these things. Sort of because you read the forms of the nature, and that is an ability people sort of because usually spirits don't talk to you in a language. They talk to you in giving you omens or some visions and things like that, like giving you signs of something, and you read into this, and you make a story about it. Again, show and tell.
Do you have some funny story or some anecdote about the elves?
Well, the thing is that they, of course, they have tendencies to steal. There is one kind of an elf called húsálfar, the elves of the houses. Things disappear, and you have no idea where it is. All of a sudden, it comes to reality, and you're so surprised. How did this happen? And also, there is also these naughty kind of elves we call púkar. They are like more demon. They are sort of black in vision, and they have got a tail and things like that. But they are usually always small. The smaller size of the spirits are called elves.
Like this small?
No, even like more like this size. And they sort of and you also will realize that there is many of the stories about the elves is also there. Yeah, there is maybe part of her essay is that they have sex with other people, with people from this world. Wow. When the father or the mother is from the elves world, but the other side is.
I shall meet the girl definitely.
Yes.
I don't really know. I don't know. It's okay. They're not fairies. Fairies would be small. They're not elves. I think they're kind of just like us.
Okay.
But more. Maybe translucent in a way. Just we don't really see them, but we might be aware of them, almost like a spirit thing, something.
Cool.
But I've never met one.
Okay.
So.
Thank you so much. Can you just give us the name and the last name?
Oh, my name is Jón Páll Vilhelmsson. So I'm a photographer in Iceland.
Thank you so much, Jón.
All right.
Very nice to chat with you.
Nice to meet you.
It's much more like when you're when you go behind your awareness. There is something which we sometimes call the difference between spirit and the soul. And the soul connects you directly to your guts. You see something, you feel something, you have no idea where the fuck did this come from. But it is there, and you feel it here. You know what is right, what is wrong, what is exciting or not exciting, what is beautiful or not beautiful. Some visions you want to keep for yourself.
And how do young people today feel about that?
Well, they use it as in so many of the creative part of the young people. They need this kind of inspirations. We use them as inspiration. We use them in poetry. We use them how to visualize music and things like that. So big part of the Icelandic musical scenario of young people has their roots there.
Thank you so much. This was really amazing, and really, I think I learned more than everything I read on the internet in the past few weeks. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. It was really fun. You're the first Icelandic person that you meet, so it's...
Iako pomalo neobična, ova priča bila jedna od meni lično najfascinantnijih stvari na samom Islandu, naravno uz njegovu prirodu, koju ste i u ovom videu mogli osjetiti i koja je nekako ta od koje čini mi se sve ovdje i nastalo. Nadam se da ste putujući sa nama kroz ovu zemlju u ovom i protekla 4 videa uspjeli da osjetite onaj Island u kojem smo mi toliko uživali i koji nas je dojmio na toliko načina. A iako je ovo kraj što se tiče ovog serijala, bez dileme nije kraj našeg Islanda, jer ćemo se ovdje sasvim sigurno jednoga dana ponovo vratiti, da obiđemo neke nove čudesne lokacije, a možda usput vidimo i nekog vilenjaka. Ko zna, zar ne?